You've always known. Not in words, not in facts, but in that quiet stirring, the pull you feel in the space between moments. It arrives like a whisper, as if reality itself has been calling you by name. And here's the paradox. You cannot explain it, yet you cannot ignore it. Because beneath the noise of your daily thoughts, there is a signal that doesn't come from the outside world, but from the fabric of consciousness itself. Science tells us that intuition is not some mystical accident. Neuroscience shows that your subconscious brain is processing information at lightning speed, far beyond the awareness of the conscious mind. 1 billion neurons scanning, predicting, sensing. What you call a gut feeling is really the quiet wisdom of a deeper intelligence. But what if intuition is more than biology? What if it is the echo of the quantum field itself? The dimension where every possibility already exists. The double slit experiment revealed something shocking. Particles of light remain waves of probability until observed, until attention collapses them into form. Now pause, because this means something extraordinary. Every time you sense that pull, you may be feeling the waves of potential brushing against your awareness, waiting for you to choose which reality will solidify. Think about the moments in your life when you felt it most strongly. The sudden knowing to take a different path home. The inexplicable urge to reach out to someone at the exact moment they needed you. The decision that made no logical sense, but later opened a doorway you could never have predicted. This is not coincidence. This is coherence. Your consciousness aligning with the deeper order that science is only beginning to describe. Here's the truth. Your life is filled with portals, doorways to timelines you cannot yet see. And they do not shout. They whisper. But most people never hear them. Why? Because their minds are too loud. Their attention is scattered, entangled in fear, regret, routine. And so the quiet signal is drowned out by the static of unconscious patterns. Yet when you slow down, when you listen, something shifts. The signal becomes stronger. You realize that the universe is not separate from you. It is you, speaking to you, guiding you back into alignment. Imagine two people standing at the edge of the same forest. One sees only trees, obstacles, and darkness. The other feels the opening between branches, the invitation to step into a new world. Both are looking at the same reality, but only one hears the whisper of the portal. The difference is not the world. The difference is perception. So pause now. Notice that feeling you've carried your whole life, that there is more than meets the eye, has always been correct. You are not imagining it. You are remembering it. The whisper is not outside you. The portal is not out there. It is here, in you, waiting. And as you learn to listen, you will discover that this signal is not just calling you toward possibility. It is calling you toward yourself. Everything vibrates. Every thought, every emotion, every breath you take is not just chemistry. It is frequency. And here's the mystery. While most people live as though their inner world is silent, the truth is that you are constantly broadcasting. Even when you don't realize it, your nervous system is not just flesh and wires. It is a receiver, an antenna, tuned to the signals of existence. The electricity firing through your neurons is measurable, detectable. Brainwaves carry the rhythm of your mind. The beating of your heart creates an electromagnetic field strong, enough to extend several feet beyond your body. You are not contained, you are resonating, and yet, here is the paradox. Most people are tuned to the wrong station. They live in static, in fear, shame, resentment. These emotions are frequencies, too lower ones. And when you remain stuck in them, your body begins to believe that chaos is normal, that static is safety. But what if the portal you are searching for is not a door outside you, but a frequency already inside you? A station quietly broadcasting a higher truth, waiting for you to align your dial. Think about the last time you entered a room where two people had just been fighting. You didn't hear their words, but you felt the tension in your chest. Or recall the time you were near someone who radiated peace, and somehow you found yourself breathing easier without knowing why. This is not imagination. This is resonance. Neuroscience confirms that your subconscious is already tuned into these signals. Long before your conscious mind interprets them, your body has registered the frequency. The tightening in your stomach, the sudden spark of joy, the goosebumps rising on your arms. Your subconscious knows, and it whispers to you through sensation. But here's the truth. You have a choice. You can live on autopilot, reacting to whatever frequencies surround you, or you can become deliberate, intentional, a conscious tuner. You can learn to shift the station. Quantum physics offers the metaphor. In the double slit experiment, light behaves as both wave and particle, as possibility and as reality, depending on how it is observed. In the same way, your thoughts, emotions, and attention collapse potential into the experience you call your life. When you fixate on fear, you solidify timelines of lack. When you broadcast gratitude, you collapse possibilities of abundance. This is not theory. You have seen it. Two people lose their jobs. One spirals into despair, convinced life is punishing them. The other uses the disruption as fuel, stepping into a new path that brings more fulfillment than the old job ever could. Same event, different frequency, entirely different reality. So pause and ask yourself, which station have you been tuned to? The one filled with static, or the one carrying the quiet music of expansion? Because the higher signal is always there, waiting, broadcasting, whispering. And when you begin to align with it, when you feel gratitude not as a concept but as a vibration in your chest, when you shift your breath and steady your mind, your nervous system locks onto the hidden frequency. That is when life itself changes tone. What once looked like coincidence begins to feel like orchestration. What once felt random begins to feel precise. The portal is revealed not as something you stumble into, but something you resonate with. Here's the shift. You are not searching for the frequency. You are the frequency. And when you remember that truth, you stop waiting for the world to broadcast to you. You begin to broadcast to the world. You are fluid. And everything you call reality is not solid truth, but probability waiting for your focus. Quantum physics gave us a revelation that shook the foundations of science. Until observed, particles exist as waves. They are not here or there, not yes or no. They are possibility, infinite, unformed, unresolved. And the moment attention is placed, the wave collapses into one outcome, one reality, one form. Here's the hidden truth. Your life works the same way. Every choice, every thought, every belief you carry is an observation. And observation is creation. When you focus on fear, you collapse a world where danger grows larger. When you focus on hope, you collapse a path where solutions begin to appear. Your attention is not passive. It is the very lens through which possibility becomes matter. But here's the paradox. Most people are collapsing realities unconsciously. Their attention is scattered, hijacked by survival patterns and old wounds. They do not choose their focus. Their focus chooses them. And so life feels like it is happening to them, rather than through them. Imagine this. Two students walk into the same classroom. One whispers to themselves, "I'm not good enough, I'll fail." The other carries the thought, "This is where I'll grow." The material is the same, the teacher is the same, but the results will not be the same. Why? because they are collapsing different possibilities with the signal of their attention. This is not mere optimism. Neuroscience confirms that the brain filters reality through the reticular activating system, a network that highlights what matches your beliefs. Tell yourself you're unlucky, and your brain will prove you right. Tell yourself you are expanding, and suddenly opportunities appear where you never noticed them before. The universe does not punish. It reflects. It mirrors the frequency of your observation, and what you continually focus on, whether consciously or unconsciously, hardens into the shape of your experience. Think of the wave function as the field of your life. Right now, countless futures exist for you, futures of healing, futures of despair, futures of love, futures of loneliness. They are all real, but they are not yet chosen. The act of choosing is not somewhere out there. It happens in here, in the focus you hold, in the lens you carry, in the story you tell yourself every day. Here's the awakening. You are not trapped in one fixed destiny. You are the observer, and the observer is the creator. So the question is not, what future is waiting for me? The question is, what future am I collapsing with my focus today? Because each time you worry, you reinforce one timeline. Each time you doubt, you solidify another. But each time you breathe, return to presence, and choose a higher thought, you open the door to an entirely different path. The portal of possibility is infinite, but you cannot walk through every door. You can only walk through the door you choose to see, and when you understand that, life shifts. No longer random, no longer fate, but a mirror of your observation, a reflection of your focus, a collapse of possibility into the one reality you claim with your attention. Emotion is not weakness. It is not random. It is the most powerful signal you will ever send into the field of reality. Science tells us that every emotion you feel is not just a fleeting chemical surge in the brain. It is energy, it is frequency, it is vibration, and the frequency of that emotion acts like a code, a directive that either opens the portal of possibility or keeps it locked shut. Here's the paradox. Most people believe they are victims of their emotions. They say, I can't help how I feel. But the truth is that emotions are not simply reactions. They are transmissions. They are your way of speaking to the quantum field, to the very fabric of possibility. Neuroscience confirms this. When you experience fear, your amygdala floods your body with survival signals. Your attention narrows, your brain scans only for threat, and your nervous system locks into protection. The frequency of fear broadcasts limitation, collapse, stagnation. But when you feel gratitude, the chemistry shifts entirely. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. Your body opens, your perception widens, and suddenly you notice paths that fear kept hidden. In other words, emotion is not just something you feel. It is something you create with. Think about two people standing in front of the same challenge. One feels resentment and frustration. Their energy collapses, their body closes, their mind shuts down. The other feels curiosity and even a hint of awe. Instead of saying, why me, they say, what is this showing me? Same obstacle, different emotional frequency, completely different reality. This is not metaphor. The HeartMath Institute has measured how emotions like love and appreciation create coherent heart rhythms, rhythms that radiate into the electromagnetic field surrounding your body. Those rhythms don't just affect you, they ripple into others, influencing how people respond, how events unfold, how doors open or close. Here's the truth: your emotions are not private, they are broadcasts. They are signals shaping what collapses from the field of probability into the form of your life. But here's the power. You can learn to choose, not by suppressing or denying what you feel, but by regulating it. By becoming aware of the signal you are sending and asking yourself, Is this the frequency I want to be broadcasting? Gratitude is not cliché. It is a key. Love is not weakness. It is coherence. Awe is not naive. It is alignment. When you dwell in these states, not as ideas but as living frequencies, you tune your nervous system to the higher station, the hidden signal that connects you to expanded possibilities. And life begins to meet you there. This is the shift. Emotion is not the end of experience. It is the beginning. It is not your reaction to reality. It is your instruction to reality. So the next time you feel yourself spiraling, remember, every emotion is a choice of broadcast. You are either reinforcing static or you are sending out clarity. And when you begin to choose consciously, when love, gratitude, and awe become the frequencies you live in, you stop asking if the portal will open. You realize the portal was always responding to your signal. You do not see reality as it is. You see reality as you are. And the one holding the lens is not your conscious mind, but the vast, silent gatekeeper beneath it, your subconscious. Here's the paradox. You believe you are making choices, but most of your choices are not made at all. They are rehearsals, echoes of old patterns, repeated scripts, invisible programs. Neuroscientists estimate that up to 95% of your daily thoughts and actions come from the subconscious, which means that while you think you are steering, it is the hidden current beneath the surface that is directing your life. The subconscious is the keeper of memory. Every unhealed wound, every repeated belief, every emotion you buried instead of released becomes coded there. It does not argue, it does not question, it simply records. And then, like a loyal but misguided servant, it works tirelessly to project those old codes into the field of your experience. This is why so many people feel trapped. They wake up in different days but live the same life. Not because they are cursed, but because the subconscious gatekeeper keeps opening the same doors. Think of two people given the same opportunity. One sees possibility, the other sees threat. Why? Because one's subconscious holds the belief, I am worthy of expansion, while the other's subconscious whispers, I am not safe to succeed. The opportunity is the same, but the filter is different. And the filter decides what reality collapses. Quantum physics tells us that waves of possibility exist until observation collapses them into form. But here's the truth. It is not only your conscious observation that matters. It is the subconscious lens shaping what you even allow yourself to see. If your subconscious is tuned to scarcity, you won't notice abundance. If it is tuned to fear, you won't perceive safety. The wave collapses according to the gatekeeper's script. So how do you shift? Not by fighting the subconscious, not by shaming it, but by rewiring it. Neuroplasticity shows us that the brain can change, that pathways can be rewritten. Through repetition, meditation, visualization, and feeling states, you can install new patterns. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you program the subconscious not just with words, but with frequency. You give the gatekeeper new instructions. It begins with awareness, watching your thoughts, noticing the automatic scripts, listening to the phrases that slip out of your mouth without thinking. I can't. I always. I never. People like me. Don't. These are not truths. They are programs. Here's the awakening. Once you see the program, you are no longer the program. The observer steps in, and the observer is the rewriter. So the question becomes, what beliefs has your subconscious been guarding? And are they the keys to the portal or the locks on the door? Because the subconscious will always obey, but you can change what it obeys. You can choose new codes, new stories, new emotions. And when you do, the gatekeeper does not resist. It aligns, it allows, it opens. This is the shift. The portal is not outside you. The portal is within you. And the key has always been in the hands of the subconscious gatekeeper. But now, you are ready to take it back. What if the limits you believe in were never real? What if fear, separation, and lack were only shadows cast on the wall, illusions mistaken for truth? Here's the paradox. Your brain does not show you reality. It shows you a prediction. Neuroscience calls this predictive coding. Your mind is constantly guessing, filling in gaps, recycling old patterns and presenting them to you as if they were the world itself. You don't see reality as it is. You see reality as your brain expects it to be. And so, if your past has been filled with pain, your brain projects more pain. If your past has been saturated with fear, your brain prepares you for more fear. This is not punishment. This is protection. But protection becomes prison when the predictive model never changes. Think about this. Two people walk into the same crowded room. One feels threatened, convinced that every glance is judgment. The other feels curiosity, sensing opportunities for connection. The room is the same, the people are the same, but the illusion each brain paints is different, and so their realities diverge. The illusion is not outside. It is inside. It is the filter of memory, belief, and subconscious prediction. Quantum physics reminds us that at the deepest level, reality is a field of probabilities, infinite, open, alive. Yet your brain, trying to keep you safe, collapses the same possibilities again and again, not because they are the only ones available, but because they are the only ones it believes in. This is why fear feels so convincing. Fear is not truth. Fear is a projection of the past into the future, a recycled probability mistaken for destiny. So how do you step beyond illusion? Not by fighting shadows, not by proving the mind wrong, but by noticing, by awakening, by realizing. If my brain can predict fear, it can also predict freedom. If it can recycle lack, it can also recycle abundance. The choice is not in the shadow. The choice is in the light you bring to it. When you begin to question the illusions, cracks appear in the wall. You sense that the stories you've carried, I am not enough, I am separate, I am trapped, were never ultimate truths, but filters. And the moment you recognize the filter, you have already stepped beyond it. Here's the awakening. You do not need to escape life. You need to expand into it. The portal is not a door out of this world. It is a door through illusion into a clearer vision of truth. And the truth is simple. You are not limited. You are not broken. You are not separate. Those were shadows, and the light has always been within you. When the illusion dissolves, the portal appears, not as an escape, but as an invitation to expansion. You are not just a participant in reality. You are the witness of it. And the moment you realize you are the observer, everything changes. Here's the paradox. Most of your life, you have believed that events shape you, that circumstances dictate who you are, that the world presses itself upon you and leaves its mark. But what if the truth is reversed? What if it is your awareness, your observation that shapes the world around you? Quantum physics gave us the clue. In the double slit experiment, particles remained as waves, pure possibility, until someone observed them. Only when awareness entered the equation did the wave collapse into a particle, into form, into something measurable. Without observation, there was only potential. With observation, there was reality. And so the question becomes, if the act of observing changes light itself, what does the act of your observing do to your life? Think about a moment when you reacted unconsciously, when anger flared, or fear took over, or me drowned your thoughts. In that state, you were not the observer. You were the program. The reaction lived you, not the other way around. And the result? You collapsed the same timelines, the same outcomes again and again. But now imagine pausing, breathing, watching your anger rise instead of becoming it, seeing the fear in your chest as sensation, not as truth. In that moment of observation, something shifts. You are no longer drowning inside the emotion. You are standing on the shore, witnessing it pass. And in that witnessing, new choices appear. Two people can face the same insult. One reacts instantly, trapped by the old program, collapsing into conflict. The other observes the trigger, breathes, and chooses silence. One collapses a reality of pain. The other collapses a reality of peace. The difference is not the world. The difference is the observer. Neuroscience supports this. When you engage in mindful awareness, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of conscious choice, activates, while the amygdala's reactive grip begins to loosen. You move from survival to creation, from unconscious reaction to conscious observation. Here's the truth. Your awareness is not passive. It is the architect. The moment you observe without judgment, you step outside the old script. You stop being a character lost in the story and become the author holding the pen. This is the awakening of the observer, the realization that you are not the thought. You are the one aware of the thought. You are not the emotion. You are the one watching the emotion. You are not the circumstance. You are the one witnessing how it unfolds. And the one who witnesses also chooses. The observer collapses possibility into form. And when you awaken to your role as the observer, you stop asking, "Why is life happening to me?" and begin asking, "What reality am I calling into being through my observation?" Here's the shift. You are not trapped in unconscious reaction. You are the observer. You are the witness. You are the one who calls possibility into form. And when the observer awakens, the architect awakens, and your world begins to rearrange itself around the clarity of your gaze. You have always felt it. A doorway just beyond your reach. A threshold that calls you in whispers, though most of the time you silence it with noise, with distraction, with doubt. But the truth is simple. The portal has never been outside of you. It has always been within. Walking through the portal is not a matter of travel. It is a matter of alignment. It is the moment when subconscious patterns, conscious observation, and emotional mastery converge. When the scattered fragments of who you believed yourself to be return home into wholeness. The portal is not a glowing arch in the sky. It is the instant you choose to step beyond the gravity of your old self. It is when the frequency of your heart matches the reality you wish to call forward. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you remain on the same frequency, you keep hearing the same static, the same song, the same stories of limitation. But when you turn the dial, even slightly, you discover an entirely different channel has been broadcasting the whole time. The signal was always there. The only shift was your tuning. Walking through the portal means becoming the signal you seek. Science affirms it. Joe Dispenza teaches that when thought and emotion align, your body begins to live in the future before it arrives. The brain rewires itself. The heart radiates a coherent field. Your entire nervous system begins broadcasting a new electromagnetic signature into the quantum field. And the field responds, not by chance, but by law. Imagine a woman who has carried the identity of failure for years. Every rejection reinforced her belief. Every disappointment sealed the story deeper. She lived on that frequency, so life reflected it back. But then one day, she paused. She observed the old program. She chose to release the emotion of shame. And in its place, she generated gratitude. Gratitude not for what was, but for what could be. Slowly, her frequency shifted. She began to walk through the portal, Not because the outer world changed first, but because she changed her signal within. Soon, opportunities appeared, synchronicities unfolded, and life mirrored her new state. This is the essence of walking through the portal. You do not wait for evidence to believe. You believe, and the evidence arrives. And here's the paradox. Walking through the portal is not about escaping reality. It is about expanding it. You don't leave this world behind. You see it with new eyes. You don't abandon who you were. You carry forward the lessons while dissolving the chains. The act itself is subtle. Sometimes it looks like forgiveness. Sometimes it feels like surrender. Sometimes it arises as a quiet knowing that I am no longer who I was, and I will never go back. This is the moment of choice. This is the birth of a new self. This is the step across the threshold where possibility becomes reality. Here's the shift. The portal is open, and you are the one who walks through. Not tomorrow, not someday. You thought the portal was a destination. You thought it was something to find, something to enter, something to step into once and for all. But here is the truth. The portal is not a place. It is a way of being. And the moment you realize this, everything changes. Living as the signal means you no longer chase alignment. You embody it. You no longer wait for reality to prove your worth. You live from worth now, and reality adjusts around you. This is the deepest understanding of the observer effect. Your consciousness collapses waves of possibility, not only in moments of meditation, not only in rituals or rare awakenings, but in the ordinary breath of daily life. Every word you speak, every emotion you amplify, every thought you dwell upon, these are the signals you broadcast. And life, without fail, mirrors them back. Imagine two people walking into the same room. One is carrying the frequency of fear, the other the frequency of presence. Both encounter the same group, the same conversations, the same opportunities. Yet one leaves drained, unnoticed, overlooked, while the other leaves inspired, connected, seen. The room did not change, the signal did. This is what it means to live as the signal, to stop asking the mirror to smile first, to become the source of the reflection you wish to see. Quantum science affirms it. As Amit Goswami reminds us, consciousness is the ground of being. Matter does not create mind, mind creates matter. The frequency you hold is not passive energy. It is formative, creative, causative. It does not wait. It generates. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you rehearse gratitude, joy, or love before the evidence appears, you are training your nervous system to live as if the future has already arrived. Your body no longer knows the difference. Your cells align to the new story. Your hair broadcasts coherence. Your brain fires new pathways. The field responds. This is the great paradox. The more you live as the signal, the less you grasp at outcomes. You don't need to cling because you know alignment itself is the magnet. You don't need to prove because you are already broadcasting wholeness. You don't need to wait because you are living the reality internally now. Consider this. The most powerful transformations are rarely loud. They are subtle. They look like choosing forgiveness when resentment would be easier. They look like speaking truth when silence feels safer. They look like holding gratitude in the middle of uncertainty, and these choices repeated daily are not small. They are signals. Signals that reshape your identity, your relationships, your future. So here is the invitation. Stop living as a seeker of signs. Start living as the signal itself. Because you were never meant to wait at the threshold. You were meant to cross it again and again until crossing becomes living, until living becomes creating, until creating becomes who you are. The mirror is not your enemy. It has always been your teacher, And now, as you stand in alignment, the reflection shifts, not because the world changed first, but because you did. Here is the final shift. You are not just walking through the portal, you are carrying the portal with you. Everywhere, every moment, every breath. This is living as the signal. This is who you are. And this is who you are always meant to be.